Bad news for Kenneth Walker. We'll break it down. We'll adjust and adapt. We'll try and attack this. And I think I've already attacked it from the best way possible. And I've got a video on Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, what to do. And most of that video still applies. So we'll break that down and more. But we did get bad news, more bad news from Pete Carroll in his verbiage. Jordan Love getting a nice little 1-year contract extension. And Jahmyr Gibbs being called a 3-down back. And Garrett Wilson being called Devontae Adams by Aaron Rodgers today. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
So we've got a little news to go over, kind of a breaking news live stream, if you will. File on in. Appreciate everybody being here. Ron Navy in the building. Big O first in the building. Jake the Snake was second. Peanut Butter and Waivers. Joe, Matt, Axe. Appreciate you all. Harry Crumbs. Valcourt, Travis Rowe, Dan Grimm. Appreciate you all. I could go on and on, but we got to get on with the news. Okay. So this is bad news. Kenneth Walker, not to say what we've talked about already doesn't still apply. 4th, 5th round value, you can clean up taking Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Problem is Zach Charbonnet might be climbing now with this news, so the cost of entry of the duo might be different. It might be the only different thing for my video would be Kenneth Walker goes from 4th to maybe top of the 5th, or at least to the 4th round for sure now. At least to the 4th round, but maybe now round 5 because of Pete Carroll's comments today where he called this a potential running back battle. And so we got to be careful where we draft Walker, because there is a strong threat that if you don't get Charbonnet, if you get sniped on Zach Charbonnet, you will potentially have a situation that could leave you completely out to dry. So Pete Carroll said today that, he's so versatile, talking about Zach Charbonnet, which he's already said. That's not new news. The buzzword here is when he said, we're going to find out how far we can take it in terms of the receiving part. We know he's really good, but so is Kenneth. So he gave Kenneth a lot of good talk, but he said those guys will be battling. Now, it's important to not knee-jerk react and think Kenneth Walker's been replaced already. He's still got to go into a battle, if there is going to be a traditional battle for the job, and lose. And he's got the offense down. He's so much far ahead of where Charbonnet is. Keep in mind where Penny was and how worried we were that Walker was going to have to try and fight and take this job from Penny, and he did. Zach Charbonnet and Walker are both top 10 running backs. That's the bottom line here. You want the honest truth from me? They're both top 10 running backs. They are. Walker's 1 to 5, Charbonnet's 5 to 10. And just like we talked about Jahmyr Gibbs being a 5 to 10 running back and Bijan being a 1 to 5, there's overlap. There's a world where Gibbs could be as good as Bijan Robinson, because Bijan's 1 to 5, Gibbs is 5 to 10. They can meet at the top and the bottom of those two projections. Or you could even call Gibbs 4 to 10. At this point, you really could. Gibbs is so trending in a positive direction every single time we blink or have a sleep, a good night's sleep. We wake up, one more sleepy, and then all of a sudden Gibbs is this much more valuable. Another sleepy, Gibbs is this much more valuable. Every time you close your eyes, this man's climbing. Let's call him 4 to 10. 4 to 10 for Gibbs, Bijan 1 to 5. And so, or maybe we claim Bijan to 1 to 4. Gibbs 4. Now Gibbs is 4 to 10. Bijan's 1 to 4. They still have overlap. They still meet at 4. It's fine. Walker and Charbonnet are no different. Walker is a 1 to 5 running back, talent-wise. I don't care what anybody says. The problem is Pete Carroll. The problem is Pete Carroll threw a wrench into the situation that's making it really, really, really murky, cloudy, unpredictable, definitely along the lines of this thing could unravel for Kenneth Walker. So my thinking is this drives him into round 5, which is fantastic news for anybody who wants to take a gamble on the number 1 running back in Seattle that proved himself, that does have somebody that's kind of nipping at his heels potentially in Zach Charbonnet. Zach Charbonnet also was called by Pete Carroll on draft day, though, keep in mind, and said, you're going to have to play special teams. We know that Pete Carroll talks a talk. He's hard to trust. He loves everybody. He's like John Gruden. He's the best ever. Hey, how do you like your backup tight end? He's the best player to ever touch the field. That's what John Gruden would say. Pete Carroll's very similar. You don't know what to believe when he says it. He loves everybody. Everybody's going to be amazing. But there is truth to being amazing when we're talking about Zach Charbonnet. He's a top 5 to 10 running back in the making. There's a reason he's on this Moon Man list still.
The Moon Man, dropping loads in outer space.
We're going to talk about this guy in a minute. This guy we just mentioned, but we're talking about him in a minute. But Walker
Space Monsters
is still on the Moon Man list because he's there from a 5th round capacity. Zach Charbonnet still on the Moon Man list because he is one of the best running backs in the National Football League. He really is. He's a top 5 to 10 running back, and he's sitting on the bench. These two both have independent value, and they both have combined duo value that if you're smart, you'll draft both of them. But it's weird. Yeah, it is weird that we went through this experience. We saw the two get put on the same team together, and yet I absolutely still love having both of them. I do. I love having both of them. I hate having Walker already drafted at 2nd round value. That was like a kick to the nads that I can still feel ricocheting through my world and my soul. And all of us feel the same way, but it is adjust and adapt season. Just like it is the moment we see this, we got to again adjust and adapt. We can't hang on to our preconceived notions. We can't sit here and just grip to the past and go, it's got to work out. Let's ride Kenneth Walker into the ground. We do have to prepare for a world where Zach Charbonnet does unseat Kenneth Walker, but we also can draft around this in the smartest way possible by taking Kenny Walker with a smile at the top of round 5 if he falls there, and he certainly might get driven into round 5 now. I'm going to take him with a smile. I'm going to take Zach Charbonnet earlier than I need to, at least a round earlier than I need to. I'm going to cuff the two together, and I'm going to walk into the sunset with a big old smile on my face. And the sun will rise the next day because you will have both players. Where it may not rise the next day, where you may be in an abyss of depression and just angst, and you're just completely upset at yourself, you're upset at the world, you're upset at Pete Carroll, you're upset at me, is if you go into a draft, you draft Kenny Walker, and you push your luck on Zach Charbonnet, it will be only your own self to blame.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
If you already drafted, you've got to do your darndest to go get Zach Charbonnet because you have half of the piece of an amazing puzzle. You do have half a piece of an amazing puzzle. And you may have the piece that only matters. At the end of the day, Walker could start 16, 17 games and be an absolute monster and be a steal that wins people leagues. That's why I highlight round 4, round 5 is absolute steal territory to get Kenneth Walker. Because there is so much value in his newfound value. There's so much value to be had. It is an unbelievable amount of value in the 4th and 5th round. Even if he stayed in the mid 4th round, I still absolutely love that value. It is a win a league position to be in. It is positioned perfectly to win a league. But your accent, your compliment, your ability to lock it down and take it the distance 17 games is sitting there in Zach Charbonnet. And to be honest, you might even want to grab McIntosh. Like if I'm drafting in a best ball draft now, I'm grabbing all 3 of them. Because you don't know if McIntosh gets in there. What if Charbonnet and Walker both get hurt? McIntosh to the moon. I mean, that's just the offense itself. McIntosh is a good receiving back. It is kind of crazy. So, the bottom line is this, and I'll wrap up the Kenny Walker stuff. We'll probably talk about it a little bit at the top of the 7 p.m. show, I imagine. But Kenny Walker is a risk of facing some sort of committee that Zach Charbonnet could potentially win that battle. It's possible. So you need to make sure that you go ahead and get both of those guys at almost any cost. And you got to know the cost of entry. You got to walk into your fantasy football draft fully prepared and understanding where you need to grab both these guys. So please understand the necessity of Zach Charbonnet to this situation. If you don't understand the necessity of the two of them being together, then you're walking into this blindly. You're walking into this situation and you don't know what you need to do in order to successfully deploy a Kenneth Walker drafting situation, because you need both of them. You need both of them. And for anybody that's already drafted, it's unfortunate. You did get kicked in the nads, and you do need to go get Charbonnet, and you might not be able to do that in an existing league where you don't have the draft capital to draft him. And people that are going to own him are going to be super excited. And keep in mind how silly just a few hours ago my number 5 overall ranking of Zach Charbonnet looked to a lot of you. When you came in here and you said, Zach Charbonnet, number 5, that's silly, Smitty. It's because he's this good. As much as I love Kenneth Walker, I can objectively stand alone, look at Zach Charbonnet's value. I can objectively sit there and go, this is an absolute monster and home run hitter. This was looking too high. Raise your hand or put a thumbs up or write yes if you thought I was a little crazy the other day. This is a day ago when I put Zach Charbonnet number 5 on my rookie rankings, despite still loving Walker. Raise your hand, type in a yes, put in a thumb up if you thought I was a little off my rocker putting Zach Charbonnet number 5. Let's take a little poll and see who thought I was a little nuts. A little nutso coming into this early first rookie mock draft, post NFL draft, putting Zach Charbonnet over guys like Addison and Johnston. People thought I was crazy. In my own chat. That's what's a little hurtful. In my own chat. Raise your hand. Now, tell me, Smitty, it looks good. Now tell me, Smitty, never mind. I know it's a lonely place being ahead of the curve, Smitty. I know how it is to go up around the curve by yourself and say, guys, oh, come on over. This looks good. Everybody head on over. This guy right here is worth this pick. This guy right here is going to win leagues if he gets into the lineup. This guy right here is an absolute monster. Monster. And all you that keep complaining about Addison, dial into the show and debate it with me. Dial into the show and tell me how this guy's sitting in this spot that all of you think he's sitting in. Is he going to get good volume? Yeah. Is he going to become his best version, a poor man's version of T. Higgins? He'll try. He will try, and he could. Dial in. But you're crazy. It is what is good about it. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Kenneth Walker. There you go. There you go. Okay, on to the next piece of news. Look, this one hits home. This one hits home. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Garrett Wilson, another moon man. Aaron Rodgers said today, I threw him a pass today and just kind of turned and was like, wow. And he said that he's very similar to Davante Adams. And we all know this to be true anyway. We all know this to be true. We all know that this guy, Garrett Wilson's top 1 to 5 wide receiver material. You know, you got to give him his respect and say, is there a world where he really could finish number 1? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. He could. He's definitely got that top 5 vibe going on right now like crazy. And he's got the quarterback that would do it. He has the quarterback that is the most capable quarterback in the National Football League to laser lock onto one player and fast track them beyond their wildest dreams. And maybe Wilson already fast tracked himself based on his massive amount of talent this kid has. But he's going to get fast tracked again. He's going to be one-upped. It's going to be like Super Mario Brothers when you run into the mushroom and it grows you 2 times the size. This guy's going to run into a mushroom called Aaron Rodgers that's going to grow him and one-up the dude. And now he's going to be 2 times as powerful. Garrett Wilson looks like Davante. They're very similar. Aaron Rodgers said when describing how good Davante Adams is. He's amazing. He's amazing. Too many peanut butter names says top 5, question mark, top 7. I don't know if that's shocked over me saying this guy's. I didn't say that. I said he's 1 to 5. And the phone lines are open as well. Can someone tell me why we are high on Olave? I'm kind of iffy on Carr. Evan, you need to go. First of all, you're late to class, obviously, because you didn't watch yesterday's Olave bull prediction show. So you need to go back and watch that. Second of all, the phone line's open if you want to dial in and anybody wants to debate. And I'm not going to hold a panel on. So you ask your question and you jump off. We're not doing a panel right now. If anybody wants to ask a question and jump off, ask a question, jump off. If you call in and you want to debate how Garrett Wilson isn't deserving of top 5, go ahead. You want to call in and debate Addison for a second, you can go ahead and call in and do that. Garrett Wilson's on his way to being a top 1 to 5 wide receiver. If you can't smell the signs, if you can't see what's going on, if you can't see the similarity between Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson and see the similarity between the situations here, and see that Aaron Rodgers is the cause and Garrett Wilson's going to be the effect, just like we've seen time and time again. You got another thing coming. Get your popcorn ready. And I don't know if too many peanut butter names is saying that too high for 5 to 7. Where have you been? You're the guy in my comments, too many peanut butter names, that said when I put the Garrett Wilson video up of Garrett Wilson catching a pass from Aaron Rodgers for the first time in slow motion with the Journey song in the background. It's absolute magical. You go watch it. And I said, how many touchdowns is this guy going to get? And somebody said I'm going to take him in the second round if he's there, which is kind of like, okay, he's barely going to be there at the top of round 2. He has been falling into round 2 from round 1. But the oblivious Oscar, the totally unknown Unger, the guy that isn't paying attention to football at all in my comments. There's 2 or 3 of these guys. They just pop right in. They can't create their own comment. They've got to comment on someone else's comment because they can't even create their own content or their own comment. And they come in just to spread negativity. And this concerned Caleb comes right into my Instagram comments and says to the guy that says, I'll take him in round 2, piggybacks off his comment and says, round 2? Put a question mark. And then the guy that said it goes, yeah, if he's there, I'm taking him in round 2. He goes, round 4, you mean? Like, you can't take Garrett Wilson any higher than round 4. This guy doesn't know what's been going on the last 5-6 months. Clearly, he doesn't. It's take a lap time. And peanut butter and what's this guy's name? Too many peanut butter names. You can call in. I appreciate you. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. I hope you're wearing your thick skin today. But for you to say 5 and question mark, and then you put 7. Where is that? Let's pull this up. You said 5 question mark, and you said 7. Too many peanut butter names. Oh, I know this guy. What was your former name, bro? Is this peanut butter and waivers? Top 5 question mark, 7 question mark. This can't be for Garrett Wilson. You cannot mean this for Garrett Wilson. Is this the former peanut butter and waivers? Tell me this isn't my boy. Tell me this isn't my boy making this comment, because I recognize the avatar. This is not a new person. This is somebody that's been here for a while that changed his name. Who is this? But to come in and say 5 question mark 7, where have you been? Where have you been? This is no new news. Peanut butter and jelly. This is no new news, bro. What are you doing saying 5 question mark, and then after you say that ambiguous comment, you say 7 question mark, as if Garrett Wilson's outside the top 7 to anybody in their right mind. Anybody. You're going to, like, top 5, I get why you might say that, even though I don't understand why you're questioning it, why you're confused about it, when it's been sitting right in front of your face the entire time. You missed my first comment above, Smitty. It's too hard for me to go back and look for it. All I know is maybe this guy's on board. I don't know. Whatever. Maybe I'm yelling for nothing. Take a lap. All I know is it's all over my Instagram comments. People are like, top 5. So I saw that, I flipped out. If I'm wrong, whatever. But there are people in my comments that are doing that. Top 5, Garrett Wilson. Top 7? No way. What do you mean top 7? Top 4? What are you talking about? He's been living there all offseason for a lot of us. Get behind. Get on the train. Get on the train because we're not letting you back on, whoever you are. I don't care if you've been here your entire life on the show. We're not letting you back on the train. If you're not on the Garrett Wilson top 5 train, then you need to walk over there and play by yourself because we're not allowing you back on this train. These comments, especially on my IG, are you kidding me, says Kenobi. I don't know what he's saying. Probably somebody said something bad about Garrett Wilson, like he's maybe a 3rd or 4th rounder. Hey, I'm absent Aiden. Absent Aiden has been away for a while. Absent Angus has been away for a while, and I don't know that Garrett Wilson's top 5. Top 5? 2nd round? Garrett Wilson? How do you say you don't know anything about the news and the offseason without saying you don't know anything about the news and offseason? The one thing somebody could say to prove they know nothing about what's happened the last 6 months, they've taken a break and they walked away from their computer. They were in a coma. Their wife won't allow them to check the news wire. Whatever the case may be, say you don't know anything about football the entire past 6 months without saying it. Garrett Wilson, 2nd round. There's no bigger statement one could say to admit they know nothing about the entire offseason than to walk in a room like a Bob and sit there and lean up against the water cooler and go, Garrett Wilson, 2nd round? What? Huh? What you guys been up to? Garrett Wilson, he's in the 2nd round? Well, that's interesting. Garrett Wilson, 2nd round. Huh. Jordan Love didn't get his 5th-year option picked up. Instead, they offered this man a nice little 1-year extension. And that, let me read that real quickly, the Jordan Love extension. 2nd round? Isn't that awfully high? Garrett Wilson in the 2nd round. Does that seem high? I don't have time to answer your question. Anybody ask me that question? Move aside. Go catch up on some videos and come back. You're completely wasting my time. Completely wasting everybody's time in here. Nobody answers somebody that says Garrett Wilson in the 2nd round ? Don't answer them. Peanut butter and too many peanut butter and jellies. I'm sorry if I misinterpreted you and threw you in that bucket. I don't know. Maybe you were in there. Maybe you weren't. I appreciate you either way. Is Garrett Wilson really a 2nd round? Move aside. Get out of the way. You're in the way. Go study up. Go behind and check out some videos. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. Too many peanut butter names. Let me resubmit my TPS report. Are you using a top 5 to 7 pick on Wilson now that Aaron Rodgers is officially in New York? No, he's going around 2 at the top of round 2 in a moment of glory. And so you need to take advantage of that. So no, you're not going to take him. He's a top 5 wide receiver. You're going to have a bunch of running backs in there too, bro. So you got to mix it all in. Funnel that down to like the 12, 13, 14 overall territory. Excuse me, Garrett, get out of the way. Get in the back. Get in the back, please. We don't have time to answer your questions about Garrett Wilson. Go study up. Jordan Love. I'm not talking about you. Peanut butter. Too many peanut butter names. Yeah, I have to leave my drafts with Wilson at the last couple of teams. Nice job. I could see Rodgers being outside the top 10. Garrett Wilson, top 7 lock. Yeah, lock. Like top, that's almost even disrespectful, to say top 7. Like he's got to be there. He's a lock, though. He's a lock. If he stays healthy, he's a lock. BB Birds. Don't even get me started, bro. Don't even get me started. Excuse me. I have a follow-up. And you know you said not to mention Garrett Wilson outside the top 5 or 7 at least. Drake London, top 10 wide receiver? I have questions. Get in, BB Birds, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Move. I don't have time to stop and answer rhetorical questions like, is Drake London a top 10 wide receiver? That's a rhetorical question. That's blasphemy type stuff. Get out of the way. Get in the back. Start watching some old streams, bro. Jordan Love signing he's locked up $22 million through 2024 is what his total contract is now worth. They extended this man. The contract includes $13.5 million fully guaranteed in money. This is a way of not picking up his. It's a way of like almost like picking up his option, but saying, "Hey, we aren't going to pick up your option, but we can give you more money if you just commit to us for that same amount of time." And so that's really what they did is they almost like dumbed down the contract, the option amount, so that Jordan Love could stay, Jordan Love could get paid, and the guy's getting $13.5 million guaranteed. Pretty hard to turn that down when you have not yet proven yourself. You are going to be a good prospect. I like Jordan Love. It's going to work out, I think. But he doesn't even know. So to get $13.5 million guaranteed, he's like, sign me up. Sign me up, Scotty. I'll go ahead and do it. This right here, Jahmyr Gibbs, we did so much Jahmyr Gibbs talk on the last video, but this guy not only is 5 to 10, he's now 4. He's now top 4 to 10 for running backs. He truly is. Greg Cosell believes that Gibbs will be a 3-down back. This is just NFL Films, Greg Cosell talking about it. This is not any new news really in regards to his role or anything. It's just an NFL Films guy that we respect and we like this guy. And he says that he sees him being a 3-down back. We already knew this. We could have told you that this was the case.
You've just been Smitty approved.
All you had to do was ask, Greg, and we could have told you this was a 3-down back. But Jahmyr Gibbs is a monster in the making. 3-down back, meaning 15, 16 carry max per game type of carry workload volume for Jahmyr Gibbs. We don't want him running 22 times a game. People that hear 3-down back, they assume you have to be a 22 carry back. This is a guy that's going to play wide receiver a lot. This guy's going to catch a lot of passes. If this guy was a wide receiver in this draft class, he may have gone first or second out of all the wide receivers in the entire draft class. You could look at him and say to yourself, kind of reminds me of like Garrett Wilson on the field. And Garrett Wilson in college played a lot like a running back. I even made that comment about it. And I had some concerns about Garrett Wilson entering his situation as a rookie. I'm not going to lie and act like I didn't waver on Garrett Wilson as a rookie just because I absolutely love him now. We need to see players enter the NFL. We need to see players absorb the NFL and mesh and mold and grow. And you're not always going to know what a player looks like coming out of college. Hence why nobody really had JJ as the number one consensus wide receiver. He was floating around the 2 to 4 range. You got to see these guys get into their environment sometimes, see them blossom, and sometimes they grow tremendously at the NFL level. Garrett Wilson's looking absolutely monstrous. Gibbs looks mad when he got picked. I don't think so, bro. I think Gibbs is just, a lot of these guys process their emotions in a strange way. Some of them have chips on their shoulders. Some of them try and carry that into the moment. Gibbs is an absolute phenom. Gibbs is an absolute phenom in the making. If this guy was a wide receiver thrown into this 2023 wide receiver class, he may be the first or second wide receiver taken. He's going to be an unbelievable pass catcher. And being a 3-down back can mean that he's 60% receiver, 40% running back. It could literally be 50-50. This guy, it wouldn't surprise me if this guy was 60% wide receiver and still managed to be 50% running back at 110% total. You think I'm crazy? Well, you know what? Buckle up. Get on the Gibbs train. This guy's coming for 110%. He's coming for 110% Jahmyr Gibbs. And he's going to be a top 5 to 10 running back monster. Ron Navy dropping a $20 wad on screen. Just finished my BB4 draft. What do you think? Hurts, Rodgers, Young, Walker, Najee, Charbonnet. I like that you got the Walker-Charbonnet combo. You've got Robinson, McIntosh. I like that you cuffed them all together. Garrett Wilson, Pickens, Lazard, Mingo. I like it, Ron. Lots of stacks, standalones. Appreciate that. Ron Navy dropping the $20 hauler. Appreciate you, Ron Navy. Let's see if there are any other super chats out there that I need to find and answer. I think there was one more in there. I'll get to it. No, actually, I think I'm caught up on them. People are doubting Gibbs. There are some. I think people are getting on board now. A lot of people that were doubting him are acting like they weren't doubting him. A lot of people are coming around. He's going to climb into the second round. He's climbing into the second round. It's going to get bad. Currently, best ball. Ron, where did he go in your draft right there? Where did Gibbs go? He was going around 4. That was the time to do a best ball mania was right away. Coming out of the draft, because he was in round 4. He was in the top of round 4. I don't know where you're going to get him now. I imagine he's climbing to 2. He's climbing to 2. If Gibbs is not in the 15 to 24 overall territory come July 1, I will be shocked. I'll be absolutely shocked. 60% receiver, 50% running back is what we're looking at, Tristan. 110%. If anybody can get 110% of a workload, like if he can divide his workload into 2 different sections, if anybody's going to get 110%, where we're just trying to figure out the math later, it is Jahmyr Gibbs. 60% receiver, 50% running back, 110%. It's coming. This is the first time we'll ever see it, and it's kind of like we've broken the space-time continuum. You know, the flux capacitor in the background. We kind of need a flux capacitor to explain the unexplainable here on the show. I'll look to get one, and whenever we get to a point in time where something doesn't make sense, we'll just point to the flux capacitor. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. I must go. We've got a couple other pieces of news here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 5th-year option, was not picked up. We wonder if Cincinnati will come a knocking. The McKinnon re-signing was easy to see coming. If you own Pacheco, go get McKinnon. Go get your flux capacitors all polished up. Go get your continuum component bolts and megawatt voltage all upgraded for the next 7 p.m. show, because we'll be bringing it back and doing it live here at 7 p.m. like we always do. See you later. Draft your Kenneth Walkers with caution. Let him fall to round 5 so you can steal him away. Ron Navy's got one thing he wants to say before I leave. Ron Navy, hurry. You got 20 seconds.
Yeah, Gibbs went in the 4th.
Jeez.
Number 41.
Woo!
Remember, I told you, you would have taken Gibbs. I took Najee. I had a chance to get Gibbs, but I took Najee over Gibbs. So.
Oh my God, guys, keep stealing him away in Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty Drafts. I'm going to drop the link so you can all go draft him right now while he's still lasting. 4th round, guys. There is no dumber thing going on right now in this planet Earth. There's no dumber thing going on than Jahmyr Gibbs going around 4. That is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of in my life. And it's happening. And we're here for... You're living through one of the stupidest times in human history, and you're not doing anything about it right now. You can go right now to Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, match up to $100 in your first deposit. You deposit $100, they'll give you $100. You can go play the stupid game that everybody's playing, letting Jahmyr Gibbs fall to round 4. Go take advantage of it. Polish up your flux capacitors. Get out there. This man will be 60% wide receiver, 50% running back. You heard me right. It's possible. You'll understand how and when later, but just go do it. All right, Ron, nice job, bro. I got to go. I'll be back at 7 p.m.
No, that's fine.
Later. Got to leave. Got to run out the door. See you all later. Dan Grimm dropping a $2 hauler. Tyler Algier after the rookie draft. I know I need to get him, just not sure how down people are on him. Is he worth a big fab drop? Yes, he's worth a very large fab drop to just secure your situation. Absolutely, Dan. Go do it. Go do it live. Definitely, 100%. A total massive fab drop. You need him. You need to have the combination if you've got Bijan. I hate this McKinnon news for Pacheco. Shaking my head. Don't worry, McKinnon's like 87 years old. He's definitely a good cuff for Pacheco, and he kind of safeguards you from any other things kind of happening. And they may release Clyde now or do something with that. So don't feel too crazy about it. Just go get McKinnon. He's pretty cheap. Isaac, appreciate your $2 hauler. Dan, thank you for your $2 hauler. Appreciate you all. Let's roll. Let's rock and roll. 2023, here we come. 4th round, Jahmyr Gibbs. Stupidity out there. Let's go take advantage of it. Jahmyr Gibbs, 60% receiver, 50% running back. Let's go. If you know, you know. This man, Jahmyr Gibbs, he looks better than Kamara looked coming out of college, more prepared to become Kamara. Schmitty, did you just say Gibbs was more prepared to become Kamara than Alvin Kamara was prepared to become Kamara?
No,